Hello, everyone. My name is Francis Hain. I want to walk you through the recovering of my Avid Magnum CFX-PK. I used Oratex fabric, and I'd like to discuss with you some of the pros and cons of Oratex. As you can see on the left, the original aircraft was done in it's polyfiber, and on the right is how the aircraft looks like right now. I'll just mention to you, if you're expecting some sort of fancy videography, you might want to just shut the channel off because this is just a PowerPoint slideshow with me talking over it. And the other thing too is I'm a pilot and a scientist. I'm not one of these people that's like super handy and like really great at welding with TIG and all that sort of thing. So if my comments come across and you're like, well, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, well, yeah, you're probably right. So you can discount those opinions if you'd like, but we'll get started. We started by taking the floats off the aircraft and putting the aircraft on a trailer for the trip home into my garage. And here we are with the wings folded in the garage, ready to get started. I joked around. I sent this picture around to some of my friends. This is our son. And I joked around saying, I left him at home by himself. And before I knew it, all the fabric got ripped off the aircraft. And a few people actually believed me, which was pretty funny. But he helped us out quite a bit with this rebuild. But here he is taking all the old fabric off. First thing we did, I manufactured a new turtle deck out of 6061 T6 aluminum. The original Avid Magnum uses I believe an acrylic or a plexiglass top. I just found that it would end up cracking a lot. I didn't find it looked very good, and in the summertime it got really hot with the greenhouse effect. This turtle deck actually turned out really nice. So let's begin talking about Oratex. This is the wing, the left wing. This is our son applying some of the Oratex glue to the ribs and to the spar. And it's super simple to do, couple coats on, and you have to ensure that you let it dry in between. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is Oratex's claim that working with Oratex is easy. And this is partially true, and we'll talk about why it is and why it isn't. So if you have a piece that is square, so in this case, this is a trim tab, Oratex is incredibly easy to use. In fact, our son, I think he was 12 or 13 at the time here, he ended up doing this trim tab pretty much by himself. We told him how to do it, and it turned out quite well. It's easy to do. You make sure you cut the fabric out to the right size. You heat up your iron to the correct temperature and put your glue on, and you get to work. One thing that's worth talking about, it's very important that you get proper equipment. We used a Toko iron for this, which is precision. You can set the temperature precisely. We also used a Steinel heat gun. Don't bother getting some cheap Chinese heat gun. It's imperative that you use proper tools for this job. We tried a couple on scrap pieces, two of them. One didn't get hot enough, and the other one was way too hot and completely destroyed the fabric on the test pieces. So then we just did what everyone tells you to do from Oratex and just bought a Steinel for however many hundreds of dollars. So it's definitely worth that investment. This is my wife working on the rudder. And as I said before, the Oratex is somewhat easy to use for some parts. Things that are square are easy to use. As things get more and more curved, it becomes exponentially more difficult to work with. And I'll be honest, like I told you in the first slide, I'm not some super handy guy. I started working on the rudder and I didn't do a very good job. And this is my wife pretty much fixing my job. So yeah, it is kind of embarrassing, but whatever. So I recommend you start with really easy pieces like your trim tabs and start working from there and finish off with the parts of your aircraft that have the most compound curves, let's say your wingtips or a fuselage. Here's my wife again working on the wing. One of the things we made a mistake about, Oratex tells you you have to put glue on every surface that the fabric is touching the surface. And so we just thought, oh, okay, well, we just need to put it on the leading edge. But that's not what they mean. They mean every part of the leading edge. So we actually finished half a wing and then noticed all these air bubbles underneath. And then we couldn't figure out why these air bubbles weren't going away. And then we realized it was because we didn't have glue under there. So we had to start over. Thankfully, we weren't too far into the project, but it's just something that we misinterpreted in the instructions. So just make sure you do that. The wings after the tail were the second thing that we worked on. Here's my wife working on the leading edge. Here's something else that's very important about Oratex. Oratex does not shrink nearly like conventional fabrics do. Here is the wing root. And as you can see, this is as the most the fabric shrunk around here because it's a really tight radius, that curve. And so we ended up we don't see this anyway, so we ended up cutting back this area so that you don't, and taking off this part of the fabric on the root because it wasn't necessary for cosmetic reasons. But if we needed to, what I would have done is cut it back and then made a piece the shape of an airfoil to put over because you're just not going to shrink it that much. Okay, here's where things get really tricky with Oratex. So like I just mentioned, Oratex does not shrink nearly as much as conventional systems. It only shrinks about 10%. So this is how the tail looked like when we first put the Oratex on the tail. If this is how your tail looks like and you think that this is acceptable and it's going to shrink in place, it will not. So we didn't actually shrink this here. It was just in place here. But I have seen some pictures of some builders and they go and they try to shrink this and it turns out terribly and they have to start over. So you have to make sure that it is as tight as possible. And with the fuselage, that's very difficult to do because the back of, let's say, a Kit Fox aircraft or this Avid Magnum has this nice compound curve by the fin. And so this is as tight as actually we could get it. And it's still, this is what was actually really stressful. So Oratex says, working with Oratex is fun. Well, yeah, maybe not. I found this super, super stressful, this part, because, well, it was a lot of material and I didn't know if it was going to turn out. And importantly, and we'll talk about this later, right around the where the vertical stabilizer starts. So I'll just circle it right here. Okay. There's a massive amount of tension that goes in there. And it was always kind of a trade-off. It's like, do we put less tension in there and let everything else go slacker? And I'll explain how we did that in just a moment. Here is another photograph of how the tail looked like before we started shrinking. And like I said, this is the best we could do. This was a day's work trying to get it even as tight as we can. Now, this is really important that and I don't unfortunately have a picture, but my wife shrunk this, and you can't just activate the glue with the iron and expect the rest of the wrinkles to come out. It just won't work. What you ended up having to do, my wife did, is she had to stick one hand with a heat glove in behind, hold the fabric from the backside off the longerons, and start shrinking so that it shrinks the fabric uniformly. And this is something we kind of learned by trial and error, and it was really kind of tricky to do. And then as it shrinks, you can start taking your hand off and allowing the fabric to touch and adhere the longeron. Now, I should mention as well, when you watch those YouTube videos of the guys from Oratex doing like a horizontal stabilizer, and they do it beautifully and they do it quick. If you're new to this, that's not going to be your experience. That guy has been doing that for years. He's probably done hundreds of components in Oratex, and he's really good at it. It's like an English wheel. You watch a guy form a cowling with an English wheel, and it's like beautiful, and you think, oh, I can do this. And then you go grab an English wheel and a piece of sheet metal, and then you wonder why it doesn't turn out. So it's kind of the same thing that I would say Oratex is probably easier to work with than an English wheel, definitely. But there is still a steep learning curve, and it doesn't go quite so fast and so easy as you think by watching a YouTube video from a factory guy doing it. Let's talk about the tail. So as I mentioned, this is the fuselage, and then on the right-hand side is the vertical stabilizer. And as you can see, we got this really tight. Actually, I was very happy with how this turned out, all things considered, because it was really stressful. You can see at the bottom, there's just a few little wrinkles on the longeron. I don't know if that's the fabric's fault or it's just we weren't that good. We were okay with this. Ideally, we wouldn't have it there, but considering how this looked like before, we were pretty happy. Anyway, there's a massive amount of tension at this spot right here, okay, where that compound curve is. And so what we ended up doing is cutting, basically making a stress relieving hole and then putting a patch on there. So here is just some of the pink tape lined up. Okay, and here's this patch you can see that we put on, and then this pink tape's partially on right here. So this patch on the bottom here, you can see, was there to cover that hole that we had to do to stress relieve it. And actually, you can kind of see just through. This is kind of where this hole we had to make that cut there. Okay, and then we have the pink tape on top. And here we are putting the that patch on. And again, just like the fuselage, you can't just go with your iron and expect it to stick it on. You have to do it using the heat gun, kind of the way you see it done by the professionals on YouTube, and you just kind of have to learn how to do it. Here we are as the last step where you just kind of float the iron over top of the fabric. This turned out actually quite well, and this our son doing it, and he did a good job. And it's in the end, it turned out actually really good. One of the things I want to talk about is the strength of Oratex and some of the advantages and disadvantages of Oratex. So no fabric is like the be all and end all of fabrics. No fabric has all advantages and no disadvantages. And Oratex is no different. So the one big advantage, Oratex says it's strong. And the truth is it is very strong. This is a test strip 1 inch wide of the UL 6000. On the left is the old fabric. On the right is the Oratex. The Oratex was actually stronger than this. This is just the last picture I got before it burst. It went over 100 pounds. And then if you look on the right, you can see the test strip actually didn't fail at the test strip. It failed at the screws. So it's not really a valid test, but it still goes to show the Oratex is super strong. In fact, I kind of did some calculations. By weight, it's actually has the same tensile strength as 6061 T6 aluminum. So super strong. Now here's one of the downsides. So Oratex advertises that their fabric is considerably lighter than existing or conventional fabrics. And I found this not to be the case. Actually, in fact, my aircraft gained about 40 pounds using Oratex. Now, I also used paint. I put a bit of paint on it, as you'll see in the last pictures. And I did put a third seat in the back. And so, and then I thought, oh, well, maybe the previous owner just didn't really do a proper weight and balance, left the oil out or something like that. And then I put it on the analytical balance. And actually, sure enough, Oratex is just slightly heavier. This is the UL 600. So to be honest, I'm not quite sure where Oratex comes up with that it's lighter, that you'll say 50 pounds. Maybe their UL 600, I believe it's called, is their ultralight version. Maybe if you compare that to some sort of product where they put 12 coats, clear coats on it, made some super shiny. Maybe that's, but when you look at a 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter square, yeah, it's numbers don't lie. So it is heavier. Here we are, all prepped for painting. As you can see, the fuselage turned out actually really nice. We were really happy with how this turned out. It shrunk very well. And here it is after the coat of paint. So you can see we put a bit of yellow on it. And so I think we put in a total of about 3 liters or so. So that does add a bit to the weight. And Oratex is designed not to have to be painted. So here's the finished airplane flying. As you can see, it turned out quite nice, and the aircraft flies beautifully. So I just want to sum up some things comparing Oratex and the conventional fabrics. So the one big thing that I like about Oratex, it's stronger. It's about the same price as a conventional fabric. The one thing you should be aware of, it's not as nice and shiny as a conventional fabric. It's very utilitarian. It's certainly by no means ugly, but when I compare my airplane to, I have a couple friends with Stinson 108s that they rebuilt, and they did an absolutely phenomenal job using conventional fabrics, and it's really nice. The work required, um, I really appreciated not having to paint this aircraft a million times, putting a million coats of paint on this thing. And so that's kind of a big advantage to Oratex. Now, Oratex saying that it's like fun and easy, I think that's somewhat misleading. I know it's just marketing, but if you go into your project with Oratex fabric thinking, oh, this is going to be fun and easy, and just kind of take a, for lack of a better word, like a lackadaisical attitude, like, oh, this will go quick, um, I think you're going to end up sorely disappointed with the product. You need to go in there thinking, knowing that this is going to be, if you haven't done it before, this is going to be quite difficult to do. It's going to turn out nice if you do a good job, but it's not going to be just like a walk in the park. Sure, there's no tedious rib stitching and things like that, but there is a lot of attention to detail, and you really have to think about how this fabric is going to shrink before you do it. So big advantage, the strength is better. The advantage for conventional, it turns out nicer. Price is about the same. So in the end, the question is like, would I do Oratex again? And we talked about, my wife and I talked about this afterwards, and we were kind of split. We're like, yeah, we really like the product, but it was a steep learning curve to learn. Now that we've done it once, the second airplane will go much, much easier. And this is what really sold me on Oratex, though. A year after we did this, we developed a fuel leak in the left engine, in the left wing, and this was like incredibly frustrating. We had just rebuilt this airplane, and you can see there's a massive amount of fuel leaking out the wing, and that was really, really frustrating. However, what sold us on Oratex was this was taking out one piece of fabric, 1 foot strip all the way around, repairing the fiberglass, leak testing it, and then putting that Oratex back on. That Oratex part of this job took 2 half days. So I'd say probably about 8 to 10 hours of work. I cannot imagine having to do this with conventional fabric. And just this alone is what sold me on Oratex. Before this happened, I was kind of like, yeah, Oratex is good, but I wouldn't say it's better than anything else. But having to make this repair and only having to spend 8 to 10 hours on the fabric portion of it, as opposed to, I have no idea what I would have had to do with a conventional product. That really sold me on it. So that's pretty much it for my presentation. I hope you learned something from it. And here's the picture of the aircraft flying now. Thanks for your time, and hope you learned something.